Yo, 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 man, you already know it's 3G Reactions. We back again with another one. We finna get into this academics talking about Young Thug, man. Young Thug, man. They said he was on that stand talking to them people the wrong way, man. So we gonna get into this, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, man. It's 3G Reacts. Let's go.
When you watch like a good like reality show, they got like the confessional. Well, maybe I shouldn't say confessional because these niggas are really confessing. But this is like the after show. This is like the recap. You know, yesterday was some wild shit going on, and today we're doing a recap. We got a few more characters. They want to jump on this bitch in a couple days. I guess it's gonna have to be a couple days because I am going to be not at my setup. So what we're gonna do is today we're gonna review, and we have gotten the full collect calls, I guess, from jail that Young Thug was calling his celebrity friends, and apparently there's a lot of gossiping going on. Now, this is important because we get to understand Young Thug's state of mind. Honestly, he's saying a lot on these phones, but you got to imagine he was incarcerated for 3 years. He was locked up for 3 years. And while being locked up for 3 years, you could tell he couldn't wait to have a listening ear to kind of get off his feelings, but also it gives us a lot of insight about how he came to some of these decisions. Whether, you know, he discusses whether he could forgive Gunna or not. It kind of shows the peer pressure in. And I'm got to be honest with you. It kind of shows how, like, you know, I don't know if we want to call Thug a manipulator, but these dudes kind of really listened to him and wanted to appease him. Now, is it out of fear? Is it out of, oh, they look at him as a big brother, the big homie? Thug kind of came before a lot of these guys. And maybe it's one of the two. Regardless, we're watching Young Thug in jail, or we're hearing him, and he's talking to, and by the way, here's the thing too. The idea of no pillow talking, he's on the phone with his girl talking about business. He's saying everything to everybody, okay? And it's kind of...
But if he's saying everything to everybody, the jail calls is being recorded at all times. There's no time. If you ain't an attorney, that shit is being recorded. But look, I want to hear the jail calls. I want to get further into it, man. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's go, man. Let's get into this shit, bro.
Because somebody said this about Thug. Thug went his whole career without doing interviews, right? This was one of the notable interviews he did. And he also did a Breakfast Club interview, Young Thug Breakfast Club. And it was one of the only times he actually did interviews. He was known to not do interviews, okay? You know what everybody's saying? His best interview yet is with the goddamn cops. He's never been that
His best interview is with the cops. Wow. So let's get into it, man. Let's see what that interview about. Because we got the Breakfast Club interview. I didn't even know he never did interviews. I never even peeped him out like that. But that's kind of crazy. And they said the best interview you got is with cops. But yeah, that's the streets talking.
interviews. You had to kind of pull information out of him. When he was talking to the cops, yo, take my number. Yo, hold on, I got to go to court. I'll be back. Double back on it. Never heard him so talkative, right? So I guess for me as like, forget a civilian, just me as an interested person in rappers and their thoughts, it was interesting to hear Young Thug, not only do that in an interrogation tape, but we're now listening to all of these things kind of come out in a jail calls. Now, if you're wondering how the jail calls are getting out there, I'm almost certain Gunna's team is leaking it to his fan pages. I'm almost certain, okay? I know they're not going to agree to it, right? But I'm almost certain that Gunna's lawyers pulled, because, yes, when you're in the case, you don't have to go through a Freedom of Information Act or anything like this, and some of these things would even be available, or it could be challenged if you try to do a FOI.
It's called a discovery, brother. It's called a discovery, yeah. That's what it's called.
On it. But it appears all of these things may have been gotten from maybe somebody who was in the case that would request them, and it could have been something for the nature of an appeal or something like that, so the courts are going to give it up because you're a defendant. So for me, I can't tell why there is, like, where's Gunna's calls? Like, we want to hear Gunna's calls, right? And by the way, you could tell maybe they were both doing it to each other. There's a time where Thug actually says he has been having his lawyers review Gunna's call, and Gunna is on the phone talking to a girl saying, I love you, I'm gonna come home soon. And he basically even thinks that Gunna got out of jail early because he wanted some vagina. Which, bruv, if that's the case, the streets is cooked. A man get kill his own man's.
He said if that's the case, the streets is cooked. He might be right about that. Everybody on the damn case cooked for sure. But we gonna get back into it and let him finish, man. This shit getting intense.
Gunna made the statement, YSL's did this, YSL whatever, because Gunna was pillow talking with a girl in jail, and she's saying, I miss you, and he's saying, I gotta get home to you, and he said he gonna
Can't be
figure out a
doing that
way,
pillow
and the
talking,
way he
man.
figured
No
it out
cap.
was to say YSL's again. Now, this is gonna be interesting, and I wonder what you guys, and we're about to play these audio right now, but I wonder where you guys fall on all this stuff. Here's what I think. I know some of y'all are now dogpiling on Thug because y'all want to say, Thug, you're worse than Gunna. But I think what's important to know is that there's not one solid motherfucker in this situation at all, right? So if your demeanor is, let's give you the same treatment as Gunna, cool, but this doesn't make Gunna look innocent. Gunna's still exactly what people claim he is. The point is, maybe we don't blame Gunna as much because nobody was quote unquote sticking to a code. We haven't heard from Lil Baby and 21 Savage, who unfortunately is kind of caught up in some of these calls. He's, well, I'm a little bit biased because he's my homie. I think he looks like the most solid person in this, but then again, he's not being charged with anything, right? So
Nah, but then again, y'all being fake because, well, you not because you fuck with 6ix9ine. He's a snitch too. But at the end of the day, they gotta chalk him up too, just like everybody was chalking 6ix9ine up. Yeah, y'all gotta chalk him up too. It ain't no in between nothing. You feel me? The streets is the streets, the code is the code. Stick to it. We're gonna get back into it though.
anyway, you're going to hear a very nasty game of telephone, and I think this is the precursor for episode 3 of the war in Ratlanta, okay? Let's go check
Ratlanta.
this shit out.
Ratlanta. I like that.
Okay. Here we go, people. Here we go. Now, let's actually the call that I care about more, and I'm gonna play this one first, is the call which I believe is between Thug and Mariah the Scientist. Now, I have a theory that we're gonna get into, and I think this is gonna be for episode 3. Episode 3 of War in Ratlanta is the business side of things. Clearly, these niggas were all acting like they're John Gotti, like they were Pablo Escobar. They were so tough in the streets. And maybe they are. Maybe they got people killed. Who knows? But they all telling, right? What's important for episode?
That sound like the plan. That sound like what everybody out here doing. Like they top dog and paying for the hits and then telling on the hitman. It's crazy. Life, streets, it's crazy. Stay in school, kids. Get your education.
3 in my mind is this. We're going to get to the business, the money, the manipulation, because in every good street story, you ever watch Narcos? Yeah, you got the guys who are tough, ego this, ego that. Yo, you're a rato, what all of that. I love Narcos, by the way. Okay, even the El Chapo series too. And what's also going to be important is that while all this stuff is going on, these guys are millionaires. So if we really think about this like on some narco shit, the music is their drugs. These are all millionaires. The music is their drugs. But you're seeing them use these street perspectives to try to influence business. Like, for example, this is Young Thug and P. If you don't know who P is the boss of Lil Baby. He founded QC, the label. They have a management company called Solid Foundation. And essentially, Lil Baby signed to him. Now, P is a street dude historically from Atlanta who now got in the game, and he kind of renounced the streets because he's doing business. You know, he's doing legit business. Now, some people, and I'm going to give you all sides of everything, chat, some people look at P as a rat. Why? They said that when he was in the streets, he cooperated, and that kind of forced him into civilian life because he couldn't still be a street dude. However, remember Thug, his disposition is he hates all rats. So because he sees
But now you're a rat.
But also it's manipulation. Thug is and again, some of this is my opinion. This is how I'm forming my opinion by kind of putting all these pieces together. This is why these things are important that I like kind of like listen to these tapes. It appears that Thug is trying to influence the rappers who their number one care is not business. Remember, Lil Baby gets hundreds of millions of dollars from P. But Thug gets his respect, and he wants to show out for Thug because Thug is the streets. So he'll say, fuck the business. I want to look good in the streets' eyes, and Thug is like the epitome of the streets. So what that happens is Thug gets to kind of almost mentally manipulate these dudes to say, yo, if you really streets, money shouldn't matter, dog. You should be able to say, fuck that nigga, because he's a rat. Right? So it's almost putting Baby in a weird spot where it's like, wait, I'm street. I gotta be street. I can't do stuff with a rat, but I'm already signed. And then Thug does something really interesting, really interesting. It's classic manipulation. He starts to basically, I don't even know if it's turning Baby against P, but he kind of starts to put it out there to say, not only is the guy you're doing business with in the streets, he's considered a rat, which makes you look crazy because you're a street nigga next to a rat. Thug does something even better. Thug uses the business to act like P is snaking Baby. Okay, what happens? QC, the label, gets sold for $300 million to Scooter Braun, right? Scooter Braun. I think it's Hybe.
Damn, they sold the label. I didn't even know that.
$300 million.
That's cold work.
So Scooter Braun's company buys 300 for not 300, buys QC for 300 million. Now P is kept on as the boss because he's a great talent curator, and he grows a great talent. So he's getting paid. I believe he probably has like some ownership in publishing or masters, but necessarily QC is kind of ran, and their catalog is kind of owned by this other company, but he's still the face of it. It's like UFC. Technically, Dana White, they sold the UFC, but Dana White is still the CEO, and I think he has a board position. You get what I'm saying? So that's how business goes. So P's still in charge of QC, but he got a big check. Now, you know how Thug manipulates that? And I won't say manipulation because, I'm using the word manipulation because we're not hearing from Lil Baby. We haven't seen the ability for Lil Baby to say, this is what I think, and this is what I'm going to do. And by the way, he doesn't have to speak, but when you don't speak, people speak for you. So they get $300 million for this label. Thug is in Baby's ear saying, yo, that company didn't even want the full label. You're the hot shit right now.
If I was him, I wouldn't even sold my label. I would have kept that to myself. You already making chicken. You could have made that easy. That was already being made. But shit, hey, it ain't me.
Just buy your shit for $150 million. And supposedly, Baby never didn't follow up with certain meetings, and the company went around Baby's back since Baby was kind of not really. I guess they were trying to buy him out of his deal. They just ended up buying the whole label. So they were gonna buy him out of his deal for 150 and have him signed. Baby was like, and they said, oh, you can't make your mind up? All right, fuck it. We'll just go to your bosses and give them double for everybody. And they bought the entire 300. Now, when the purchase happens, P gets the 300 million. P, which, this is going to be a business conversation. And this is why I said episode 3 is all about the business of Atlanta. So, is an artist owed money if the label you helped build gets sold? Now, that's a very interesting question. I'm going to give you some examples of how that question matters in a lot of aspects. When Spotify,
yeah, that's a big question
with Universal, and even when TikTok came to an agreement with Universal, there was a big lump sum that was paid out. Okay, it was paid out to Universal because of some of the bigger artists who campaigned. They said of that cut, they needed money. So essentially, Universal had to divide up some of the money they got and give to individual artists because they're saying, we built this company. You're not going to sell us like some slaves. But again, that's not everybody's demeanor to it. Some people are saying, well, the deal we had with us and you, Baby doesn't own part of QC. Baby doesn't own part of QC. Now, if they did the deal for 150 million for Lil Baby's career, Lil Baby would have gotten paid from Hybe because he would have to re-sign to Hybe. So it would have been an all-in-one deal, right? So it's like one of those like sign and trade deals if you follow basketball. Because they end up buying all the contracts and catalog, that doesn't have anything to do with Baby. Because Baby was owned by QC. Now Baby's just owned by whoever.
I'm gonna end this right here at that. But if y'all want to hear them jail calls, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to share the video, bro. Man, it's 3G Reacts. We back again. We gonna keep coming back with that 5, man. Y'all know what time it is. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, man. Smash that motherfucker. Let's go.